Welcome back to Technology and Innovations. Today's feature showcases a skilled craftsman from the Netherlands who's independently constructing an amazing elevated dwelling within forest canopy. This undertaking, titled The Elevated Cabin Project, forms a segment of his original documentary collection filmed in a totally self-sufficient setting. His primary principle: zero synthetic materials allowed. All components should remain organic, environmentally conscious, and built for longevity. This builder slices timber with exact measurements, ensuring every section will interlock during assembly. Following this, a carving tool creates flawless channels along the lumber's edges, strengthening the joints. Penetrating cavities are currently being bored at the frame's connection points using power equipment, allowing fasteners to be securely positioned. Currently, substantial steel fasteners are being inserted through the cavities, which will rigidly anchor the complete timber framework against the trunk. Currently, this craftsman is fashioning specialized steel supporting brackets that will maintain the elevated cabin's timber framework securely fastened against the trunk. He's utilizing a pivoting system at each connection point's tip, allowing the framework to accommodate the trunk's organic motion.
Meter long beams are heavy. I have to slide and maneuver them in place, slow and steady. The clamp prevents the beams from falling off the structure.
He is now placing the main load-bearing timber around the trunk, which will carry the full weight of the elevated home and help stabilize its foundation. He then secures the timber temporarily with steel fasteners to stop it from moving while drilling takes place. This craftsman is securing the fasteners individually using a wrench, ensuring the timber beams are rigidly joined together. This builder is boring cavities in a large timber beam with accuracy. He calculates the spacing and penetration of every cavity, ensuring fasteners seat correctly and the lumber remains intact.
Because of this, the diagonal supports from the base of the tree can be shorter.
His careful craftsmanship currently strengthens the elevated dwelling's base, making it more balanced and secure in complete unity with the forest. Angled reinforcement beams are currently being positioned beneath the timber framework, balancing the construction and stabilizing the complete dwelling.
There's a
This craftsman commences work on fresh timber sections, slicing every section accurately for exact frame fitting. Using a manual saw, he carefully shapes the lumber, forming corners, eliminating gaps during assembly. He employs measurement tools and traditional woodworking instruments, ensuring every edge remains level. Every beam aligns flawlessly with the metal connections fastened to the trunk, guaranteeing the construction stays stable without harming the living tree. Angled reinforcements are being added at every corner of the lumber. This distributes the dwelling's mass evenly and maintains the complete framework's stability.
This cut tree was outside for a year. The outer layer got a bit rough.
Now he's selecting a substantial trunk section, which will become the fresh support timber for the elevated dwelling. His confidence in organic lumber shows as he strips the bark using an electric grinding tool, producing a sleek surface that will accept the protective treatment more readily.
First, it needs to become flat.
He's employing a specialized device to make accurate cuts on the timber's curved edges, which will subsequently be joined with additional components. He's taking measurements repeatedly, ensuring every dimension is flawless, since one error can compromise the complete construction.
I apply wood oil to the parts I cannot reach later. A leftover rod is a nice failsafe.
He's positioning thick timber columns at the elevated dwelling's base, which will correctly distribute the dwelling's mass toward the earth. Every timber column is positioned on a concrete foundation placed above ground level, preventing the lumber from directly touching the earth's dampness. He is now setting large timbers onto the wooden columns he previously built, steadily raising the structure to its full height. Each timber is extremely heavy, so he carefully lifts it with precise balance to avoid any tilting. At every joint where the column meets the beam, he uses specialized connectors that lock the pieces tightly together, ensuring long-term strength and stability.
As a result, most beams have a different size. This makes for an interesting puzzle. The challenge is to make it into a nice design.
The timber beams are currently being joined beneath the overhead covering. Every fastener and connection is strengthening the complete construction. The reinforcement timbers that were positioned below are currently connected to the fresh timber sections, stabilizing the complete elevated dwelling in equilibrium. Circular cavities are being created between the timber posts, allowing the reinforcement lumber to be securely inserted and strengthening the complete construction. The small timber beam ends are being treated with protective oil, which will shield the lumber from moisture, pests, and climate deterioration. Following the oil's drying, the beams are progressively fitted through the cavities with perfect sizing. The timbers are being fastened using hardware in every pair, preventing the construction from loosening as time passes.
First, the beams with the least. I mainly use reclaimed wood for the floor construction. Some of the beams are not entirely straight. With a bit of patience and a couple of clamps, this can be fixed, and the wood gets a second life.
The additional lumber sections are being sliced very accurately, ensuring the elevated dwelling construction is level and symmetrical. A protective oil or treatment is spread on the lumber surface, preventing moisture or precipitation from damaging the lumber. A plywood panel is positioned on top. This becomes the foundation layer of the flooring upon which the following flooring will be positioned.
Rotating planks a lot of times. This is for
By positioning the lumber around the trunk, he guarantees that the trunk can expand while maintaining stability. Every board is aligned properly with the reinforcement timber beneath the timber boards, which will help produce a robust floor in the following step.
High winds.
The positioning of the stairway columns has commenced to produce a solid foundation for ascending onto the timber platform. Once the metal column is completely hardened, the iron steps will be fastened individually around it, producing the spiral stairways construction. The timber beams are being sliced to particular sizes to ease the wall framework's construction. The wall framework is being raised and the beams are being positioned on top, securing the complete construction firmly.
On the left, the window will be installed. So this beam is screwed from the inside, so it can be adjusted later.
The task of positioning the timber frameworks for the elevated dwelling sidewalls has commenced. Every framework is being measured and positioned level, ensuring the wall is flawlessly balanced. Every timber framework is being positioned such that the window space is also established.
Steel toes have multiple purposes. I can already see the French balcony.
Currently, the timber frameworks are being sized and fitted individually in position. Following the framework's proper positioning, the task of positioning timber boards on it has commenced. Individually, the complete wall is being covered with boards. Currently, it is assuming the form of a robust wall. The woodwork for the canopy has commenced on the framework's upper section. The edges and corners of the lumber sections are being refined to be level. Every lumber section is being sliced to size accurately, eliminating gaps. A triangular framework is being created to shelter the cabin's covering. The timbers are being sliced at particular angles and joined together to produce a solid triangle. The complete construction appears exactly like a professional covering framework.
The roof triangle will be set.
Fresh lumber sections are being prepared to join the triangular framework's two sides together. Following cutting, the lumber sections are positioned in the framework's middle and aligned. The lumber sections are being securely fastened together by boring cavities and inserting fasteners. The covering beams are being positioned individually, ensuring the complete framework is balanced. Now, triangular timber blocks are being created on both sides, which will produce the covering's corners.
These little blocks help to transfer the load of the roof to the walls.
Particular attention is being given to measure and position every corner properly. He has started attaching metal panels to the timber framework of the roof, carefully aligning each one to ensure durability and weather protection.
The space seems bigger than I imagined. Very cool.
At the same time, branches from the main trunk are being cut and shaped to create solid support columns for the veranda. Using natural tree materials not only adds strength, but also preserves the rustic and organic style of the treehouse design, blending structure and nature seamlessly. Each column is being lifted one at a time and firmly anchored into the ground, ensuring stability and long-term support for the structure. The lumber sections are currently being smoothed to perfection to produce the window framework.
Grab the matching set, the paint has to be removed. Nice. The windowsills are installed between the wall beams.
The framework is being carefully positioned, allowing the glass window to be correctly positioned. Following the window's positioning in the framework, it is currently being securely fastened on every side using a fastening device. From the exterior, it can be observed that the fresh window integrates flawlessly with the timber cabin. The timbers are currently being carefully measured and cut to exact dimensions to build the veranda framework. Each joint is precisely adjusted to ensure perfect alignment, allowing the pieces to fit together smoothly and provide long-term durability. Now the primary timber column for the corner of the balcony is being accurately placed, creating a strong and stable base. This step is crucial as it defines both the structural integrity and the overall appearance of the balcony. Once the main column is correctly positioned, the remaining sections are marked and separated for trimming. Each timber part is then cut and leveled with great attention to detail, ensuring that the entire column stands perfectly even and supports the upcoming construction efficiently.
Massive wooden hammer. Now I won't hit my hand anymore while chiseling.
The fresh columns are currently being positioned on the porch's other side, every lumber section being measured and fitted properly. The timber columns are currently being securely positioned, with fasteners being used to secure every section position. Paint application commences. With individual brush application following another, the timber borders are receiving a fresh luster.
I'm trying to figure out a way to cut these sheets with a Japanese saw.
Slim boards are being cut to exact dimensions for use as exterior wall cladding. Each board is individually positioned onto the structure and securely attached using fasteners. This method ensures a precise fit and adds both protection and visual appeal to the building's outer surface. Every board is positioned properly on the construction and secured firmly using a fastening device. Beginning from the wall's one end, he progressively positions every board. Following positioning every board individually, the wall is currently completely sealed and solid.
I still like my fingers, so if possible,
Slender timber strips have commenced to be positioned to seal the wall's gaps. Following fitting every lumber section properly, it is being securely fastened using fasteners. The lumber's gaps are being totally cleaned and filled. A timber strip is being positioned over every gap and fastened firmly using a fastening device.
that's better.
Ultimately, this timber elevated dwelling is totally standing, as though it has blended with the surrounding environment. Through this construction, he demonstrated that with determination, you can construct a fantasy dwelling, even within a forest center.